Hey everybody, Jeff here. Hope everybody's having a great day. I just want to let each and every one of you know that you matter, you're important. Okay, for today's quick discussion, right now it is 3:03 right now, and I kind of want to go over a few things today. First off, I want you to know that you matter, you're important. Do not let anybody tell you otherwise. Don't let a signal booster out here. Don't let anybody else compete with you on making you great. Because what makes you so special, you're never going to know whose lives that you have an impact on. And if you do, more than likely those lives you didn't have an impact on. It's the lives we don't know and we'll never know. Those are the lives that we have the biggest impacts on. The reason why is people like that don't come forward all the time. They don't say that they need help, but you know what? When you go and help them out, when you do something nice for them, when you do something they weren't expecting, you just became somebody very, very important that means something to them in life. I always tell everybody, you know, the things that have mattered to me the most in my life are not large acts of affection or big, grand gestures. Things that matter to somebody like me that I remember are small things in life, you know? I know when my grandma used to make chocolate chip cookies and oatmeal cookies and sugar cookies, and every time she made the cookies, I knew who she was making them for, you know? I remember stuff like that. Those are small gestures. They made some cookies, all right? I know the people that I make bread and pies for, okay? I know the Marines that I served with and what their families go through and who they are, you know? And just by showing up at a wedding or, you know, calling one of my Marine Corps brothers out of the blue, I remember that and they remember that. You know, people send Christmas cards all the time, but it almost becomes a pattern of, oh, better send it. However, with me, since nobody knows much about where I am and stuff like that, when I get a Christmas card, I remember every Christmas card I get. One of my friends I went to high school with, I wasn't able to send her, or I didn't open her Christmas card right away. In fact, it got put in the bunch because I got so busy traveling, was on the road helping Marines and military personnel and truck drivers. Anyway, I got a phone call that she died of heart failure. And it broke me up inside. It hurt me. And because it was a friend of mine, you know, and she was married. And, you know, this person had more love in her than anybody I knew, you know. And she had a weak heart, though. Anyway, I was going through and I found a Christmas card from her that I had from the following Christmas. I didn't get a chance to open it yet. And so I got to listen to her one more time. One of my good friends had muscular dystrophy that was a doctor of history or doctor of education and everything else. He wrote me a letter for my birthday one day, but never got it delivered to me. But his roommate, the person that took over his affairs or whatever, they saw that there was a letter addressed to me, and it was for a birthday a couple years back. And it's funny because, like I said, I got that card, and it was just a happy birthday card. A couple years later. But it meant the world to me. These are small gestures. These are things that people don't have to do, but they mean the world to us. So things that we do should never be, oh, go buy me a car, or oh, go give me this, give me that, you know. I still remember when I owned certain clubs. I remember everybody that ever supported me, and I remember those that used me for my support, if you understand what that means. And so when we're out there every day, you know, maybe you're married. Maybe you got a girlfriend or a boyfriend or something like that. You know, when was the last time you just wrote a letter, stuck it in their briefcase, stuck it in their lunch? You know, maybe even as they woke up in the morning, wrote something in soap. It might make your wife mad or something. But just say, honey, I just want you to know I love you. And just put it on the mirror where they have to look at it every single day. Small gestures mean the world to people. Even sometimes the people closest to us, sometimes we forget that we need to make sure that they know they're important too. Now, why do I go over all this? Well, being a Marine, I have a lot of brothers and sisters that have very, very bad PTSD, that become part of the 22, you know, and they don't have anybody doing anything for them. But I did notice that they're a lot happier when the call out of the blue comes, you know, when just a simple, hey, just thinking of you, how you doing text, you know, hey, everything going okay, you need anything kind of text. Hey, I just thought I'd stop by, say hi, you know, hey, let me write you a quick letter, put it in the mail, just making sure that you're okay. Let me send you a quick message on Facebook to let you know that you matter. The little gestures of appreciation. You know, it's funny, when we were a kid, I say this now, but if you think about it, when we're kids, we always talked about helping little old ladies across the street. That's a small gesture of appreciation. That means we're doing something out of the kindness of our heart, you know, helping somebody get in and out of the house, getting groceries for somebody. And now, granted, those are all elderly, but what if you have a neighbor or something that has a newborn baby, and then they need to get out for a little bit, and you go babysit for them, you know, or you go and over the nursing home and read to some of the people, or go to a school. One of the things I love to do is on Veterans Day, the schools call me up and they have us read to the kids for a couple minutes during Veterans Day. That's awesome to me. I love going to do it, you know. And it's funny is those kids will remember that more than they'll remember everything else that goes on every single day. So as you can see, it's very, very important. And in today with the coronavirus and everything going on, it's more important today to do small things to let people know you care. I know people think I record everything I do. I actually don't. And the things I do as small gestures, I don't put on, because those aren't for you. Those are me. Those are what I do for people. I don't want anybody knowing I'm doing them. But there's also big gestures I do to help out, you know, to raise money, to help out people. And there's only certain people that have known of what I do and how I do it. But like right now, and I kind of want to put this out there because this might be something you understand. If you know of a neighbor or something, call up the priest in your hometown and see if they'll come over to take communion to maybe one of your neighbors that doesn't have internet or a cell phone or something, that's been out of church for months on end. You know, maybe that's something you can do. I know it works. Why? Because I did it. Okay, but maybe, like I said, somewhere, I don't know whose method. I don't know who's preachers or rabbis or pastors or, you know, healers or anything like that. You know, but I do know that maybe somebody needs them, and maybe you can call them and say, hey, would you come over and surprise them? I know they can't get out, but there's no reason why they can't come over and physically see you in order to let you know that, hey, we're still here. Because sometimes that's all people have is the religion, and that's what they're holding on to right now. But maybe they need that small gesture of appreciation, okay? And why do I say this? Because, man, people, when they are happy, they're happy. When you do these small things, and sometimes I even forget myself, it's the small things they keep bringing up to you. Hey, you had lunch with me today. Hey, I really appreciated that. You know, hey, you called me out of the blue. Man, that meant the world to me. And they will bring it up over and over and over again. To be invited when nobody else really ever thought about inviting them. To show up at a time where nobody else shows up. To make a phone call when nobody else is called. You know, to just offer to take somebody for a ride because they've been stuck in their house all day long. These are little gestures. You know, I know people are tired of being at home and everything else, but you know what else is little gestures? Doing fun things with your kids. You know, I'm not a Mormon, but I love the commercials on TV where it shows the dad giving up his bowling day and sitting there playing dress up with his daughters instead of going out with his buddies. I love that kind of stuff. You know, those are small things that your kids are going to remember forever. I used to let my daughter cut my hair. She may have to again. I don't know why I got that big old cowlick in front, but anyway, I may let her start doing that again. But, you know, I let her do my nails, okay? I'm sorry, there's no other females around, so I let her do my nails. Now, of course, there's some weirdos out there like, oh, I can't believe it. Why? I let my daughter do my nails because it made her happy, because it was a good laugh. You know, I could take it right off. It's not a big deal, you know? It's nothing permanent. But you know what? To my daughter, it meant everything in the world. And people, they see that I do these things with my daughter, and the reason why I put up like game nights and stuff like that, they're just brief reminders of things that you can do with your kids and you can do with your family members that don't take money, that don't take energy. It's just something you can do that will mean more than every big gesture in the world. Okay, like I said, the next time you're going to have a big thing is like when you turned 15 or 16 and bought your first car compared to somebody buying you your first car, you know? When you went and you're able to put gas in your tank for the very first time and didn't have to have somebody do it. You know, when you learn to do woodworking with your dad, or when you go out and you learn to cut your grass for the first time. It doesn't matter all the thousands of times you mow your grass. You can still remember the first time you did it on your own. The first time you rode that four-wheeler, or in some cases three-wheelers, for the very first time. Those are small gestures that you do for people. And they don't cost money. They don't take too much time. But what they do is they leave a lasting impression on the people around you. It makes you a good person, because it's hard to remember to do small things, you know, such as take out the garbage, you know, clean up your room, things that we teach our kids at a very, very young age. And I try to teach my daughter a lot of that kind of stuff. Just the small... Oops. I don't know what this person is doing. Well, it's not a throughway, so... Anyway, it's just the small things that you can do for people over time. You know, maybe help somebody with their groceries in the store. But these things matter a lot. Now, I'm a veteran and I'm a Marine, and I get that. And I see older Marines that can't get out. I see older soldiers and sailors and Coast Guard and Air Force that can't do too much. But, you know, I like to keep up with them. I like to talk to them. I like to tell them they matter. And I like to tell my friends they matter. And I like to tell my friends what's going on, because you know what? We forget to do that sometimes. We forget how important it is, the small things in life. I can still remember living over on Adams Street, and I had some of the greatest neighbors in the world. And you want to know something? It meant the world when they would just come over and visit. Why? Because, man, yes, I had businesses and stuff like that, but they didn't come over to talk to me about, but they came over to talk to me because I was a friend. They came over to talk to me because I graduated high school with them. They came over to me, or they lived next door behind me. I got my neighbors out in my neighborhood now that always went to my church and stuff with me, and you know, they visit, they say hi. These are things you can do for people that mean the world, and these are things we'll always remember. The everyday life of going to work every day means nothing, but maybe you're working on a paint line, or maybe you're somewhere and somebody's getting sick, or you know, and you say, hey, I'll do this for you today. Go ahead and take a rest for a minute. Them taking that 5-minute rest and you going and helping them out means more to them. Why? Because they don't have to miss work. They're getting paid. But you did it because you noticed they needed it. Okay? Maybe some of these teachers right now have other jobs, and they have to go work, or they have to do a Zoom or something while they're at their other job to make money, because they're not making money as teachers right now. And they have to take that extra few minutes to help their students. Okay? Let's face it, teachers don't get paid very much anyway. And, you know, for you to give them that extra time is great. Okay? Maybe somebody in the grocery store is old and they can't get their stuff all together because they're a little bit slower, or their hips are hurting them or something, and you go and help them. These are small gestures and small acts of kindness that you can do. I do know a few neighbors that I've had most of my life, and it's funny because you get to learn them and everything else, and they don't want any part of anybody else. But you know what? When they need help or something, if you pay attention and you help them out, they don't have to say thank you to you. You know what you did was right in the right way. You didn't ask for any money in return. You didn't ask for anything other than, hey, thanks, bye. A lot of stuff I do, believe it or not, nobody knows I do it. I don't put it on, you know, because of all the videos and stuff I do on here, I don't tell anybody everything else I do. Why? Because I don't want anybody knowing. Because I know, and that's all that matters. And if it makes a difference, great. If it doesn't, oh well. So many people are so afraid to do kind gestures anymore because they're afraid that somebody's going to yell at them, or they're going to get sued, or if they know their name. So people don't put their names on stuff anymore. Why? Because they don't want to be sued for doing the right thing for the right reason. But let's face it, what makes a person great is doing the right thing for the right reason when no one's looking, and never asking anything in return. Anyway, you know what I'm saying? So like I said, with Fishing for Freedom in Quincy, you know how many donors we have for that just want to help? You know how many people can't donate, but they go out anyway, and they go and volunteer to help? They were never military, but you want to know something? They're willing to go out there and help every single day because they know that military are the front lines. You know how many people love it when cops come around to get around their kids? They might say they don't. I remember as a kid growing up, my family has never been in law enforcement, okay? But we always had a cop come over and sit in one of the parking lots outside my grandma's house. If you know it, it's just where they go sit and do some paperwork. We'd always go up to it. And you know what? They'd always bring these little stickers. They'd bring the old plastic badges and stuff like that. And they give it to us later on. There was like playing cards or whatever with their name and everything on it. But, you know, they would talk to the kids. They would get in good with the communities. You know, some of the things I love are watching police officers play basketball with kids and kind of run down neighborhoods or in certain areas that aren't the greatest. Take that call in just a second, everybody. I want to finish up here to let you know that no matter what you do, it's the small things in life that will matter. And when you're dead and gone, what are people going to remember you for? How are they going to remember you? Why are they going to remember you for the person that, you know, are they going to remember you for the small deeds you did that turned into large sums? In other words, it's kind of like that. Do you want a penny a day doubled every day for the rest of your life? Okay, so do you want a penny a day every day doubled every single day? It doubles for the rest of your life. You may die a millionaire, but you can leave that to somebody. Or do you want to have $1 million today and have the tax everything taken out of it and No, you know what? Your gestures are worth millions. And I don't mean monetary. I just mean that everything you do in life matters. But if you're sitting there so worried about the big things, oh, I got to get this done today, instead of worrying about the small gestures, then we're wrong as a society, because it's the small things that get each one of us through it. And like I said, I tried sometimes to write what things on my Facebook about different people and why they matter. I like to put their name on there and not do a full blast on everybody. Because like I said, I'm still a human being. I'm still a person, but I want my friends to know they matter, and I want people I don't know to know they matter, and I want people to take care of my fellow Marines and military, to let them know they matter. And if I can take care of each one of you, whether you're military or not, and let you know, then you're going to go out there and hopefully pass it forward to maybe somebody that needs it. I don't necessarily need it, but somebody does, so I'm going to keep being kind, because you know what? It's a domino effect. You're going to see somebody one of these days and you're going to shake their hand. You're going to see somebody one of these days that may have been falling in their yard or something. I had one of my neighbors, and he was always a good guy to me. And it was a couple years ago, and he fell down the stairs and died. And him and his wife were friends of mine for a very long time. And I still remember, and this is the first time I told this particular story, okay? So I want to tell this one story, then I'm going to get going, because this is a small gesture. I told you in life, I've been the bully and I've been bullied. I don't really care. I'm a Marine, you know. Now, you know, it doesn't bother me. But I remember it was pouring down rain and everybody got rides home one day after the bus. And it's funny because I was the only one that didn't have a ride. And, you know, I got off the bus and I had to walk home. All of a sudden I had my neighbor come by. Somebody that I knew him. He was always a nice guy to me. And he asked me, he's like, here, hop in his truck. And I got in his truck, and he's like, how you doing today, Jeff? Good. He's like, anyway, he took me to my house, and then he went back to his house. He lived over in the next subdivision. And every time he'd come down, he'd always ask me if I wanted to ride. And it was funny because I would always go over and then help him with some of his yard work, and I got to know him. Now, he had grandkids, and that loved him to death, and he loved, and they always bragged about their grandkids and everything else, but I became friends with this particular person, a neighbor of mine. And when he fell down and broke his neck and he died in the hospital and everything else, the only thing I can remember is him picking me up when I was 12 years old and giving me a ride home when it was raining out, and never having to do that when nobody else did. And it's things like that we remember, that now when I see things, you know, I'll give some of the kids a ride home. It's not a big deal. But things like that make me proud to know the person. You know, he didn't have to do it. I mean, there was cars that drove right by me. So, like I said, we must do small things. Grand gestures of appreciation are great, okay. When was the last time you picked the phone to call somebody to say hi? I can tell you right now, I see Tony on here, Craig, his Spilker, and his wife, two of my great friends, you know, that I've known my entire life. Lowmeyers, oh my God, the Lowmeyers, they're awesome. I love each one of them. They're great. They're always friendly to me. I've known them my entire life. Or from St. John's. Okay, Fernando, how you doing, my friend? He's awesome. Russ Hincamper, man, Russ, I've never seen you on here, but I can tell you stories of how great Russ and Ryan and Renee and Ron and their mom. Oh, their mom, my gosh, I had her in school, and oh, she was just awesome. I love her to death. Dave, new friend of mine, I love you guys. I hope everybody's great. So remember this, do small gestures for people. I'm going to go inside here and get some bananas, and I will talk with everybody soon. Bye, everybody.